Hi guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be answering all your questions on building. I hope this video won't get too long, but I shall try my best to kind of stick to the point and not go too far off, so we can keep this video nice and to the point. Okay, so you guys had a lot of questions for me because I placed these questions on both Instagram and on YouTube, and I've got loads of responses. Some of the questions were actually a bit repetitive, so obviously I don't need to answer the same question several times. So I'll just jump straight in there so we can get started. Okay, so the first question I had was, should Andrew be used after plastering but before painting, and what are the benefits? Right, okay, so yes, Andrew should be used after plastering and before painting. Andrew basically brings a nice smooth finish to the walls. Now, what you have to understand is that what we call plastering here is not exactly the same as what we call plastering in the UK, which is why Andrew is used. In the UK, or any of the other Western countries that you may have seen before, they don't tend to use Andrew as much, because what they have is not called it's actually called plastering, but what they're doing here in Ghana, when they're doing the walls and they say, okay, they're gonna plaster the inside of your house, is actually rendering, and it has a much more bumpy kind of finish, so it doesn't feel completely smooth as you've done it. What they're actually using is like an outside render, but they're using it inside, which is why once they've done it, it just doesn't quite feel like the walls are completely smooth, and that's the reason why they use Andrew. So they use Andrew to get rid of that last part of that kind of roughness that is left on the wall after the plastering. So that's what basically it is. So Andrew just helps to get rid of that and just smooths the wall completely, so it's just like that, basically perfect. So that's the reason for having Andrew. You don't have to use it if that wouldn't bother you, but most people do tend to Andrew the walls just to get that smooth finish. It just a little bit extra, basically. So that's what that's for. Okay. The next question is, what is the total cost of building? Okay. Now, quite a few people ask me this same question, and my answer to you is, if you can tell me how long a piece of string is, I will tell you the cost of building. I know, that's a cheeky answer, right? Okay. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because all houses are completely different. Are you having a story building? Are you having a low rise? Is it 4 bedroom? Is it a 20 bedroom house? Is it a 1 bedroom house? You know, what land is it like? What's the land like? There are so many things to take into consideration that it would be impossible for me to say this is how much it would cost to build a house. It's absolutely, you just can't do it. It's just not something that can be done. So your best bet, the best thing to do is, if you're thinking about building a house, get the drawings done, get the architectural drawings done, and get a bill of quantity. Once you have your bill of quantity, you can decide whether, okay, you know what, this house is going to be too much for me, this is going to cost too much for me, perhaps let me shrink it down by 20% or whatever, and then you can get a better idea. But for me to sit here and say honestly to you guys that, the cost of building a house is going to be, I don't know, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million. I couldn't tell you. It really depends on what you want, and obviously a lot of the cost in building as well is to do with the finishing. So it really depends on what you're after. There are too many factors involved in order for me to be able to say truthfully what it would cost. And for those of you asking how much we've spent on our house here, again, it would be very hard for me to say, simply because over time things have changed. You know, the iron rods that we bought 3 years ago is not the same cost of the iron rods that we bought today. So back in the day, like I said, when we first came to Ghana, iron rods were going for 1,500 for a ton. Now, today, iron rods have gone up to 4,500. So you can see there's a massive difference. So that would take your budget completely in a different direction. So it'd be so hard to say. And we have built slowly over the course of about 3 years. And to be quite fair, because it is our own personal house, we didn't really keep track of the cost as much, because we did a little bit as we could. So we were doing like most people would do here building in Africa. You do a little bit, you get a bit of money, you do a little bit, you get a bit of money, you do a little bit. So we weren't really accounting for the costs in that way, because it is our private residence. So we never looked at it that way. So honestly, I couldn't say. I think the most information I can give you on that is probably to say, when we slabbed one part of the decking, that probably cost us, how much would you say? You see the way Carmen turns around because he didn't want to be in the video. He doesn't really like being on camera. And I've just put him on the spot. That one decking, because we did half was 40,000, wasn't it? And the other half was about the same actually, wasn't it? So probably about 80,000 to deck one part of the
one side.
One.
What do you mean?
No, one level.
Yeah, one level.
Yeah.
80,000.
Yeah, about 80,000 marks. Yeah, to cover the whole floor. So that can kind of give you a rough cost, but in terms of other costs, it is pointless because the blocks that we bought are a different price now as well. There's too many things that have changed, so I don't think it would be fair to actually go into cost pricing of things.
There are also different types of blocks.
Yes, and there are different types of blocks. So for me to try and give you a cost price just wouldn't be fair to you. So yeah, and we don't know the full cost of our house. We're just building as we go. So sorry, I can't give you more of an answer than that, but there you go. Get a bill of quantity done. Okay, the next question. Right, do you need a flat roof for the solar or can you place it on a pitched roof? You can absolutely place it on a pitched roof. All you need to do is make sure that if you've got a pitched roof and you're going to put it on there, that it's pointing in the right direction of the sun to get the maximum effect, so that the panel can actually soak in as much of the sun as possible. In fact, when you have a flat roof and you put a solar panel on it, it actually needs to be propped up so that it's at an angle to be able to absorb the sun. You don't really leave it lying flat, it's got to be propped up on something. So if you saw the video where we did our water tank, you'll see that the solar panel is tilted in this kind of direction in order to catch the sun. So yes, absolutely, we see them all around. You can absolutely put solar panels on a pitched roof. Okay, now the next question is, you added window sills. Was this a big or difficult job, and can most contractors do this? Now, it wasn't a big job at all, but with most, I won't say most, with some contractors, unless they can fully understand what you are saying, it will be difficult for them to get the drift of what you want. So you might think, okay, windowsills is a common thing. Okay, can you put a windowsill underneath this window for me? If you're not there to guide them and to show them exactly what you want, you'll end up with something completely different. So that's something that you need to take into consideration. You can do your windowsills in many different ways. You can do it out of concrete, you can do it out of blocks, you can do it out of wood, you can do it out of many different things. It's up to you. But I would say, if you are going to do windowsills, be there to make sure it is going to be exactly what you want, because not everybody can fulfill exactly what you want. Remember, language barrier. So if you're getting someone that doesn't perhaps speak exactly the same language of you, you may not have exactly the same understanding. So just for cost's sake, make sure you're there to every step of the way if it comes to doing windowsills, because it's not a common thing in Ghana. A lot of the houses here don't have windowsills. So it may be a new concept to your builder if you're going to do it.
Or get a contractor.
Yeah, I'll get a contractor. Okay. The next question is, let's see. What is our advice on building or renting? Now, I'm not a big advocate for renting unless there is a specific reason that you have it. If you've just come and you need a place to lay your head, then absolutely rent. But for me personally, I wouldn't say just rent for the sake of renting. No, I wouldn't. I would say either go get yourself a house, buy a house, build a house, whatever you need to do, because renting for the long term is not really a sustainable model. You rent in like bulk, so you can rent 6 months, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, whatever, but it's just not sustainable. And by the time you've rented out over a period of years, you'll find that actually you could have used all that money to build a house. Especially even if you're renting your house for $1,000 or $2,000 a month. I mean, that's a lot of cities to be packing away to someone else. So if you can, I'd say, you know how I am, I like to do things on a budget. So I would say, if you could sleep in a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom somewhere and keep your costs right down and just squeeze yourself for that for a period of time while you're getting your house built, or while you're gonna buy a house and you're looking into that, I would say definitely do that. But don't look at renting as a long-term plan. It's just not feasible. Not here in Africa anyway. If you can, please try and avoid that. Yeah. Okay. Someone said they want someone with natural hair to marry. Okay, I can't really help you on that, I'm afraid. And it's not really a building question, so there you go. Next question. Can we recommend contractors and architects by name? No, I can't, basically. It's one of those things that's very difficult. we've had our experiences in the past where things have gone wrong for us. So really, we don't really like to recommend people for certain jobs. But what we do have is we have obviously a nanny, as I've said many times, that works with us, and he has a very tight knit team. And so most of the tradespeople that we get from him. But apart from that, I wouldn't recommend an outside person, because we've had people coming in the past where it's been recommended by auntie or uncle so and so, and they've said blah blah blah's done a great job. We bring them in to do ours, and then we end up with a bomb site. So in terms of recommendations like that, I wouldn't recommend anybody. But if you do need something like that done, just contact me, drop me an email. I can send you a nanny's details, and he can help you if that's what you would like to do. But apart from other big companies and things like that, I couldn't recommend anybody. That's just me being truthful to you. I couldn't recommend. Next question. Thoughts on a polished concrete floor? Yes, that is definitely something you can do. That is an option. I've seen quite a few of those actually, a few pictures of those, and it does actually come out really, really nice. It's really nice and smooth and stuff, but it can cost you as well. You've got to get the right person to do it. Don't just take someone at their word when they say, oh yes, I know how to do this, because you'll be surprised, you will be their first experiment. Okay, so make sure if you're going to go down that route, make sure you've seen that person's actual work. Don't just take it from the person's phone and say, oh look, this is a job that I did. No, go and visit the place where they said that they did the work, and speak to the person that they did the work for, to make sure that it was them that did it, and that they did it well, and that they didn't have a year or 2 years worth of problems before they got the floor to look like how it does today. Make sure you do your research on that. So definitely it is an option if you can get the right person with the right materials and they know all the right products to use. Absolutely, you can do that. You can also use epoxy to do your floors as well. That gives another nice finish if you're not really keen on tiles and things like that. So those are both great options to use. Okay. And someone asks, what do you plan on doing in Ghana career-wise? Again, that's not a building question, but I'm being kind and I'm going to answer your question for you. Okay, what do I do career-wise? I basically do YouTube. I see YouTube as a career path for me. But I also do run an online blog, which is all about natural hair, because that is definitely a passion of mine. If you want to check that out, you can do. My website, I will put on the screen so you can go and check it out if you would like to have a look at that. But basically that is also my online business. I run that as well as I do YouTube, and obviously my husband is a contractor, so he does lots of jobs for private individuals as well. So that's basically what we do here in Ghana. Okay, next question. Would you advise on getting a loan to build? Absolutely, yes, I would. I would advise getting that, especially if you can get a loan from outside. Getting one in Ghana, I wouldn't necessarily recommend, because there are quite a few, interest rates are quite high, and obviously they need something to secure the loan against. So that could be a bit tricky for a lot of people. So I'd say if you can get a loan from the Western world somewhere and to build, I would say absolutely do that. If you check out one of my videos in the past, that was actually one of the regrets that we had when we came to Ghana, that I didn't take a sizable loan before coming to Ghana to do what we had to do. So if you have that opportunity and you're on your way here, definitely take out a loan to do what you need to do, because you can just pay it back slowly over time, and it will give you so much freedom, especially when you're building and you get to a point in the build where you need it's capital intensive. Like I said, the decking was capital intensive for us. 80,000 cedis to try and get that to like slab the floor is a lot of money, and it will take time. So if you don't really want to have to wait like over time in order to gather that money before you can move again, a loan is a really great way to help you. So absolutely, I would definitely recommend that. The next question, do you plan on building a second home in a different region? Now, it's funny you should say that. Now, when we came to Ghana, we didn't really come with a plan. We just came, like we literally almost just showed up. So we had lots of ideas that we wanted to do, things that we've had to put a little bit on the back burner, but we had actually started certain things before this house that we're currently in at the moment. So we actually had we'd acquired land in Oyibi, and that was to be an estate. So that estate is still there, but we haven't had time to develop on it. We need to focus on our house here. And next to that estate, we actually purchased another 2 plots of land. which is actually another house that we have. So it's actually half built. So maybe someday I might show you guys some pictures. I don't know, I might put some pictures in here of that house. So that house is actually still there. We're not sure if we're actually going to move into it later on. Maybe as the children grow, we might leave this house for them and move to the other house in OUB, because we actually wanted somewhere that was kind of quiet. We had no intention of living right in the city, because we're kind of like that family where we like to be a little bit outside, so not too far outside where you can't travel to go and get all the things that you want, but far enough out where it's quiet. So that was actually their plan. So that's why we started that house over there. But once we finished here, and once the children are grown a bit more, perhaps yes, we will go back. But we definitely will finish that house. I don't know if we're going to rent it or live in it. We're not sure yet. But that house definitely has to be finished, because we're already halfway with that house. So yes, that's a very good question. Next question. Have you found a way to add a casement to your windows? Okay, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure if I understand the question fully, but I'm going to try to answer it. By casement, I think you mean something put around the frame. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm up for being corrected. The frames are just the frames. That's just how they are here. In Ghana, you tend to get either the aluminium frames, or you get there's a plastic frame that some people do. Kwame's just not a fan of the plastic frames. He just doesn't really like them. So we went for that aluminium. So they've literally installed all the frames for us, and then we'll come back when we're ready to put the glass in. We're not putting the glass into the windows yet, because we want the outside plastering to be done first. Because if you've seen the way that they plaster, they go whoosh, and they throw it on the walls before they smooth it, and we don't want that to go all over the glass. So that's the reason why the window glass hasn't been installed yet. But that's if I understand your question right. If I don't, I'm sorry. Next question. Someone asks, can you discuss the pros and cons of a septic tank and why we went with septic? We just went with this system, well, because we just picked what we thought was easier for us, something that didn't need too much maintenance. I mean, we've explained a lot about the septic tank already. I will link that video into this one so you can check it out as well for yourselves. We just wanted something that's not too intensive for us, something that we didn't have to continuously keep sucking out every 2 years or whatever. So that's why we went for the system. But there are many different systems. You have to pick what you feel is right for you, basically. So it depends. Some people think we're wrong, some people think we're right, but we've basically chosen what we think will work for us and our lifestyle. Next question. Have you already started sourcing furniture and decor items? Do you know what? Every time I go to the shop, I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to get this, we have to get this, we have to get this. There's so many things. Honestly, the things that I point at sometimes, I'm like, we have no budget for that. I'm just like in fantasy land. I'm like, oh, I love that piece, I love that piece, I love that piece. I don't know. But I've definitely had my eye on some things that I've seen around. And basically, yeah, that's what it is. We've just seen some pieces that we like, but we haven't really purchased anything. We've purchased like the toilets, and we've purchased a couple of the bathroom sink units. Yeah, little things. We haven't purchased much. As I said, we went to Kaiser and we purchased we got the hob, and we got the extractor fan, and then we got the
hood.
The hood. That's the hob. Oh yeah, no it's not. The hob and the hood, yeah. And something else, I can't remember. Microwave, that was it, yeah. So we basically,
oven.
Yeah, and an oven, yeah. So we basically got all of those from Kaiser. We haven't collected it yet because we're not at that phase yet, and I don't want to bring it to a building site, so it's still with Kaiser at the moment. But yeah, those are the things that we've purchased. But obviously, as time goes on, we will be getting more pieces and stuff. And some of the furniture that we already have will just be going upstairs, but some of it we want to maybe get them, like our sofa reupholstered and little things like that. But yeah, you'll see that over time anyway. Someone asked, okay, when one says your perfect home, what would you describe as your perfect home? For me, my perfect home is something that is comfortable for my family, and it's just usable. It's just a usable space for us where all the rooms are functioning and we're just happy. I mean, I wouldn't say a perfect home has to be, I don't know, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms or whatever. For me, it's just whatever works with the family, whatever is functional for us according to our lifestyle. That's a perfect home for me. Your perfect home may be a bungalow, your perfect home may be a 3-tier house, I don't know. Everybody's gonna have a different ideal as to what their perfect home is. So yeah. Someone asked, what is the name of the stuff for damp proofing the walls? I think you're talking about the R&W. So R&W is basically like a water solution, and you can add that to your concrete, and that basically provides a protective barrier, a waterproof barrier, so that basically you don't get damp and things like that. I'm sure you've seen I don't know if you have, but you may have seen the video that we did where we showed you, one wall that had the R&W in it and another one that didn't, and you could see that the one that didn't have the R&W was just soaking in the water. So you can imagine if that was your ground especially, and it's just continuously soaking water, that's when you see all the black stuff coming up people's walls and stuff like that. So if you're building a house, please make sure you do use R&W, your DPM, and your all that stuff that you need to just make sure that damp does not enter your house. It's really, really important, because you'll only regret it later if you don't do it. So if you're just about to start building, make sure you do use the right type of damp proofing. Oh, and I've had loads of people ask me where you can get R&W for. Now, the R&W that we get, and Nanny actually gets it for us, and it's somewhere that is very difficult to describe. So if you want to know about that, drop me an email. I'll give you a Nanny's number, and he will help to sort you out, because where it is, you know how it is. It's not somewhere where you can say, okay, yeah, go to this place and then get it from here. It's not like that. So yeah. Okay, someone said they're still confused on the whole toilet thing. Can you explain plumbing in Africa versus US? No, I can't. I've never even been to America in my whole life, so I wouldn't be able to explain anything versus the US, to be honest with you. But the toilets that we had chosen, the floating toilets, we just chose those ones because we think aesthetically they just look nicer, they're easier to clean, and it's just the more contemporary thing at the moment. There's nothing wrong with the other one if you don't mind that. But we just wanted that kind of like a bit more of a high-end finish, so we went for the floating toilet. So that's what we liked. When will your home be finished? Oh my gosh. I wish I knew. Do you know what? It's really funny, because the closer that we get to almost finishing, the further it feels, for me anyway. Because in fact, I said to Kwame the other day that it feels like this is never going to be finished. I just can't imagine us actually being able to move upstairs. But I'm hoping that within the next couple of months, we can get everything finished. The POP is now finished, which was basically taking up quite a lot of time. So that is finished. The guys are out now. And so now we can move on to the next step. So hopefully the next steps won't take too long. So we shall see. So hopefully in the next couple of months, I'm really, really praying so, because I really want to go up. Yeah. Next question, do you have any plans on digging a borehole, and if not, why? We absolutely have plans on digging a borehole. Yes, we do want to dig a borehole. So we will be looking into that. We've actually been trying to get some quotes at the moment where, we want to get that done, because obviously we want to try and be as self-sufficient as possible, just to make our lives easier. We're not really about the life of the government turning off the water and then you're having to ration what you have within your poly tank. No, we definitely want to get a borehole, so we're definitely going to be looking into that more. And obviously, as we start to head down that journey, you guys will be part of that as well. So we'll show you the progress on that. Okay, so someone says, your solar heating, the solar water heater that we have, will you be using solar for the electrics as well? Absolutely. In fact, I'm already in talks with a company at the moment. I'm just waiting for them to give me the quotes, so that we can already expand what we have, because we have an inverter system already, which is for the 2-bedroom that we're in at the moment. But obviously it's not big enough to support the whole house here. So we're trying to see how we can expand on that system so that it can run the whole house. So I'm just waiting for a quote to come back on that. And obviously as we do it, again, I'll keep you guys in the loop so you can see how it's going. But absolutely, we would definitely be using a solar inverter system. The solar inverter system is the best thing we ever did here in Ghana, to be honest with you. Whoa, the camera's gonna drop. Just pretend you didn't see that, guys, please. Are we good? I'm good. I think we're good. We're good? Yeah, okay. Yeah, the solar inverter system is the best thing that we ever did. Honestly, when we first purchased this system, it was like, oh my gosh, what did we just do? It was really, really expensive. But actually, over time, we're like, my goodness, it's so good, because when everybody else has lights out, we're still going, and sometimes we don't even realize that the light has gone off because everything solar is still working. I just remember when we first came to Ghana, we didn't have anything, and the lights go off, it was like a nightmare. It's like every minute was like an hour. That's what it felt like. It was not nice. So having an inverter system really helps us. So if you're thinking about it, go for it. Just go for it, an inverter system. It's definitely worth the investment. Okay, the next question. Similar question to one before. Someone's asking for a breakdown cost of the foundation, first floor, second floor roofing. I've kind of already answered that. Simply, the simple answer is just, I don't know, because it's our private residence, so we never looked at it as a business in that we'd say, okay, the foundation costs this, the first floor costs this, the second floor costs this. We didn't look at it that way. We're just like building as we get, we build, as we get, we build. We never did that. But obviously, like I say, if this was a business, we would have done things very differently, because we would have accounted for every single little thing, and it probably wouldn't have taken 3 years to do as well. So, I hope that answers that. The next question, what percentage of the total cost of your house do you plan on spending on finishing? We don't have a budget for that, to be honest with you. Similar to the question before, it's our personal residence, so we'll just buy it as we need, what we need, just because that's just what it is. We basically haven't put aside a budget and said, okay, we're going to use 50% of what we've used to build for furnishing, or 100% or 200% or whatever. We haven't done anything like that. We're just going to, as the need comes, we'll just meet the needs, basically. That's just how we're looking at it. But if you are building, make sure you do have enough budget for your finishing. Finishing is really expensive, depending on the quality that you want. Obviously, you can go low end where it's not going to cost you much. But if you want a high-end finish and you want things to last for a long time, if you don't like your taps going green after a year, then obviously you're going to buy something a bit more high-end. But if you don't mind that, you don't mind replacing your taps every year or so, then you can go for the low end. But obviously I would recommend you go for the high end, just so that you have something that's actually going to last, rather than having something temporary and then you have to keep changing it and having problems. It's just a whole life for no reason. Okay. And the final question is, are we going to decorate ourselves as we move in, or are we going to rent it out, the house out room by room? Okay, I think it's kind of like two questions in there. So the first part of the question is, are we going to decorate ourselves? I don't think Kwame's going to get out a roller. I'm not sure about that. I doubt it very much. I haven't asked him. I don't think Kwame's going to get out a roller and start painting himself. We'll probably just get the trades in to do what we need to do. It's just faster, it's just easier. And
you would if you're on a budget. If you're on a budget, you'll do it.
Oh, if you're on a budget, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if you have the money for that,
yeah.
You do it.
If we get to that point and we're like, oh gosh, we've completely run out of money, then yes, absolutely, we will be doing it ourselves. We will crack out all the rolling pins and everything ourselves, definitely. But if we can afford it, it'll just be easier to get someone in to just do it, and that's it, then it's done. And the second part of that question is, are we going to rent it out? We had considered at one point renting out the 2 bedrooms, which is downstairs where we are at the moment, as an Airbnb, but we've actually decided against it at the moment for various different reasons. So that we'll basically be keeping it for friends and family that are coming, that want to stay, and we will use it as like an extension of the whole house, basically. So that's what we're going to do. So we don't have plans to rent it out or anything like that. But obviously, I'm saying that now, tomorrow could be a different situation, I don't know. But in terms of an Airbnb, at this moment right now, no, we don't plan on renting anything out right now. Yeah, and that was the end of the questions. I hope you guys have been able to make it to the end of the video. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't speak too quickly for you guys to understand as well. Sometimes I get really excited and I just want to say everything, so I kind of like do and just bring it all out. So I hope you were able to keep up with the speed at which I was speaking. But yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you guys have learned something from this video today. If you have any more questions, do drop them in the comment section below for me. Okay, guys, if you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button for me, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video for me. I would really appreciate it, guys. And until next time, I am out. Naughty Papa.